Hello, everyone. So, welcome to the Wobbly Setup presentation. In Odoo, we have had a lot of new features to help you not have to input data like the OCR, like the artificial intelligence that recognizes fields. But at the end of the day, there is always something that users have to input manually. There's no way around it. As I work for Odoo, I'm a user myself of Odoo, and I want to be able to enter whatever information I need to enter in Odoo fast. My name is Vincent Schippefilt. I work in the R&D department, in the framework JavaScript department. During this presentation, I'll ask a few questions. Now, don't be scared. The answers are always the same. The answer is press Alt. So if I ask a question, remember, the answer is press Alt. All right? So in this version of Odoo, V12, we want to allow people to use more efficiently the keyboard. Why do we want it? Because any developer knows that what takes a lot of time during data input is the movement of the hands from the keyboard to the mouse and back to the keyboard. It's aiming with the mouse on a specific item and typing it in. So we want to improve the way people use Odoo. And we have three objectives. We want to allow everybody to navigate intuitively with the keyboard. We want people, and especially experts in an application, to be able to quickly enter the data that they need. And as a side benefit, it wasn't an objective, but it's a good side benefit. Now visually impaired people, partially blind people, can use Odoo much better than before. And how we did that? We have forced the way the navigation behaves on certain screens and applications. We have made sure that people that have to input many times different data on the same screens, like for instance Invoices and so on, to do it really fast. And of course, the navigation, you can go from one place to another in Odoo much, much faster. So let's go down through the list of all the things. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's about going fast, so let's just go fast. So you'll see on my screen, every time I touch the key, it appears in black on the keyboard, so you can follow what I'm doing with my hands. In the home screen, you probably know if you start typing, you can get to pretty much anywhere. So let's go to Invoices, and that was already existing in V11. You can get straight to Invoices. All right, now it's time for the very first question. I remember earlier, you know the answer. What button should I press if I want to create a new invoice? Sorry, I couldn't hear that. What should I press? Alt, exactly. So with Alt, press down, you can see that we highlight all the shortcut keys that we have added everywhere in Odoo. And this is true for every screen, and not just on the application that we have developed ourselves. It's also true on every application that exists in Odoo. Why? Because it's integrated directly in the framework. So if you're a partner, you have your own applications, they already support the shortcut features. So now, to create an invoice, the shortcut is C, so I'll just hit C. Wait for the invoice screen to load. Voila. So in the screen, what I am supposed to do is take my mouse, select a customer. I'm going to take company 2. Then this is the only required field here, so I'm going to try to stay minimalist. Then I can add a product. I can search for the product I want. Let's take a large cabinet. And then I can go back all the way up, save, and validate. And then continue the process to send and send emails or send by post and so on. So that was the mouse way to do it. It wasn't very, very slow, but I didn't have a lot of information to enter. But we can make this much, much faster. So I'll do exactly the same with the keyboard. So once again, what should I press to create a new invoice? Excellent. So I'll see. I'll start and go fast, and then we'll do exactly the same, but much, much slower. So let's take company 2. or company 1 is good also. I'm going to move to the invoice line, select my project, desk, that's large desk, then move, then move to the top of the screen, hit enter to save, validate the invoice, and we're done. You can see that the part that is actually slow is my PC, which is on battery responding to the request. So that was the very fast way to do it. I'll do exactly the same and show you exactly what I did so you can do the same. So first, Alt and C to create a new invoice. Then I'm on what we call many-to-one field. So you can use the arrow keys to go up and down through the list or start filtering. And then use the arrow keys to get where you want. Then I want to move to the next field, which is the tab key. And actually, I want to move through many fields and just keep hitting tab. So now I'm inside one-to-many fields, which is a list of sub-items, or in this case, invoice line, in my invoice. So before, you couldn't enter with a keyboard into those fields. Now, not only are you able to go through it, we know that because you enter this field and it's empty, you probably want to create a new line. So that's what we do for you. We create a new line, and you can, once again, it's a one-to-many, so select whatever you want. Let's go to large desk. So now I can choose whatever I want in this line and go from field to field, continue inputting, and I reach the end of the line. So now that I'm at the end of the line, well, we assume that the next thing that you want to do is create a new line. So that might be a good assumption or a bad assumption. We don't know. But it doesn't matter, because if it's a bad assumption, just don't put anything, tab through the entire line, and voila. The line has disappeared, and you are moved to the bottom field, which is a text area, where I'll type anything. Now, there's nothing after this as a field in this form. So the next thing that I'm supposed to do is save. I hit tab again, and if I continue hitting tab, you will see that I'm not moving. Now, the focus, where the action that you're doing with the keyboard is on the save button, and it will stick to the save button. And you have to make a decision. The decision is, I did a good job. I input my invoice correctly, and I want to save it. And for that, I hit enter. I didn't do a good job. I don't want to save it. I want to discard it, and I hit escape. Or I made a mistake, and then I take the mouse, go and change it, and then go back using the keyboard and move back to the top of the screen. So let's save it again. I saved with enter. Once it is saved, you will see that the focus is automatically put on what we think is the next action that you will want to take. And the next action that you will want to take is always the first primary button, which is just under the edit and create. So let's hit enter again. And once again, we did the action, and we think the next action that you want to do is send and print. So I will do it. I know that WK-HTML to PDF will generate my PDF. It takes some time, but that's fine. This is a pop-up where I have to choose how I want to send the invoice. So once again, I would hit tab if I'm happy with whatever is there, get into all the fields, and then once again, I'm on the bottom button. The button is send and print. And with tab, I didn't need to actually aim for it. I could have just let my finger pressed on tab, and it would stick to the first primary button, which is here, send and print. If I hit enter, it does the action. If I hit escape, the pop-up closes, and you have discarded your work, you didn't do anything. So with that, this works in every form, in every application in Odoo. Isn't that cool? Good one. So that was how you input data really fast in a form. Once again, in every form of Odoo. So indeed, what should I do if I want to go back to the home menu? Sorry? Yes, thank you very much. I should press Alt. Once again, you will see that there is a shortcut for the home menu. It's H, it's easy to remember. And from here, I can access to any screen. But let me take the mouse the old way and open accounting again, and then go to my invoices. And now look, if I hit Alt, I see that all my menus are highlighted. I can, using the number keys, access any menu of any application, and then use up and down to navigate inside my own application. So I don't need to always go back to the home menu. Of course, by accident, I choose exactly the screen I was on. So I'm going to use, once again, keyboards to navigate back to my list of invoices. And now what I want to do is actually I want to browse my invoices. So you will see that my focus is on the search field. By default, when you are reading a list or a Kanban view, we will always put the focus on the search field. We assume that the first thing that you want to do is start filtering. Here I don't want to filter. What I want to do is go down in my list, and I can do that with up and down, and then select an invoice, and I want to open it, and I can do that now with enter. Once again, I'm inside a form, so the normal navigation happens. I can press Alt and see all the actions I can do on all the buttons. I can edit the invoice, I can register payments. Register payments is a pop-up that will support tabbing through it and stopping on escape, and stopping on the button and validating it with enter. So that was a list view. Now I will go back to it. And I want to change views. So once again, if I want to change view, what should I do? Alt, indeed. It's very easy. You're really good. So I used Alt-K, which is the shortcut. Too bad, it's just behind my keyboard overlay. L is for list and K is for Kanban. Now I'm in a Kanban view. As I said earlier, the focus is automatically on the search, so I can start typing and filter on company, then use the down key and navigate in my Kanban from one card to another. Of course, if it's grouped, I can also navigate through the group like that. So if, like me, you use the application projects a lot and you have a lot of tasks and a lot of columns, it's very easy to just filter a little bit, use down and left and right keys to find the task, hit enter to open it, and voila, you can start reading. Hit Alt-A to start editing it, and you're ready to edit. Okay? Good? So, I think if you use the keyboard more, you will waste a lot less time in inputting the things that you really want to do. And saving this little time on every form, on everything that you will do, amounts to a lot of time by the end of the day, especially if you work all day inside an application and you really become really accustomed to the shortcuts that we have assigned. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this feature. Do you have any questions? Yes? There is no list of all the shortcuts, simply because it's impossible. So we assign dynamically the shortcuts to every form as soon as you hit Alt the first time. There are some that are fixed, and for those, there is a list, which is in here. So those are the fixed shortcuts that will be true for every screen. Is there a way to add shortcuts? If you want to add shortcut, you don't need to do anything. Every button will get assigned a shortcut, but if you want one specific one, you can define literally the property access key in HTML behind the button, and that's the shortcut it's going to get. Yep. Uh-huh. So we didn't actually add the possibility to change the page on the form because okay, let me explain the reasoning. Our opinion is that to go fast, you have to go from the top to the bottom of the form in one one way. And everything that should be important should be available straight in front of you. If you need to dig through the different tabs, you're not in fast entry mode. You're in really detailed, precise edit mode. And for this, the mouse is still the better tool.
So your answer is no way to change the page on your form.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay. And what about if I have a very large form and where is some opportunity for some kind of page down? Because as I see, you had clicked up a lot just to go to the description of invoice.
So yeah, for very large forms, so first I'm zoomed 150%, so that's why it takes everything so big. But for very large forms, you still can leave tab down, and it will move through all the forms and all the inputs, and then block at save, so you won't loop endlessly. And then if you need to target a specific field at the bottom of the form, the pointing device, so the mouse, is still the better option. So if you have a very large form, need to input 3 fields at the top and then 1 at the bottom, the pointing device is still the better option. Okay? Of course. So Apple is always more complicated because they like to use their own thing, which is a judgment call of my part. But on Apple, to activate Alt, it's actually 2 keys. It's Control and Alt, or whatever the Apple keys is just next to the Alt key. Command, I've been told. Okay, I think oh, no, there's one more question. Okay.
Could we also use shortcut in calendar view?
The shortcuts are defined on every button. So if there are buttons in calendar view, yes. Of course.
From an event to the other inside the calendar?
No, for now it's not implemented. Actually, it's not implemented simply because moving from one to the other, we estimate it should be very predictive. So you have to know where you're going to go before you go. And calendars are really strange because sometimes uneven, even starting at the same date, starts a bit before or a bit after. And it's really hard to predict where you're going to get with the keyboard. So we decided simply not to do it.
And the group by and filter. Could we go inside the menu of group by and filter with keyboard?
So that's a very funny question. A few weeks ago you could, and we have taken it out. The reason is because when you look at the screen, let me try to move this overlay. I'm going to go back to the list. And if you look at the screen, the amount of shortcuts you have on a very simple screen is already very cluttered. So in order to remove a bit of the clutter, we have decided to take out those shortcuts. So you could, and we took it out. That means that if you want it hard enough, communicate about it and we'll put it back in.
Okay, thank you.
Yes?
Why we can't go to calendar view via shortcut?
Of course. Do I have a calendar view in here?
Yes,
Do I?
just go back. Yes, it's here.
So this one is a calendar view?
Press Alt, please.
Yep.
Here.
Oh, there's no shortcut keys on the calendar views. Okay, indeed. So this is also something that we have removed, and for the same reason, to remove the clutter. So once again, if you want it hard enough, just ask and we'll put it back in.
Okay, and one more question.
Yep.
Do you have opportunity to sort by field? I think it will be easy and it will be great opportunity if we also have shortcuts into view
Mm-hmm.
for columns.
Yep.
Just to Alt and press maybe down and up to sort view by field.
Yeah, so sorting on list view using the keyboard is also something that we considered, but we wanted to keep the system as simple as possible, and we try to avoid combination of keys. So Alt and Shift and up and down It's a lot of things to remember, and also it's pretty difficult to represent on the screen. That's why we have added the overlay with all the keys, so you don't need to think. There's just one thing you have to know, is that there are two keys which are really effective. It's Alt and Tab. Alt being the favorite one.
And what about if you have more than 9 menus in the top?
Yep.
What will be?
The last one won't get any numbers. Of course, you have only 9 or 10 numbers in the number keys. Okay?
So what's to do?
There's, of course, the idea is we want to make the work easier for the most amount of people as possible. Keeping things simple is usually the better way at first to start. But if people really love it and get used to it, we can add more features.
Okay, and what about the other languages? If,
Sorry, I didn't get that.
for example, if I'm Russian and I'm Russian user
Uh-huh.
and I have Russian letters, should I switch the language to use shortcuts or it will be available?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a very good question. If you want, let's meet outside afterwards and let's try it on your PC and then see if it works.
I don't have.
Too bad. Or we can install the Russian language, but then you have to help me and install it afterwards.
Do you have easily some umlaut letters in French? I don't know.
Yeah, there is.
And maybe we have to see it on your laptop.
Sorry, I didn't get the last part.
I think if there is some umlaut letters in French, I think we can try to see it on your laptop.
Okay, let's try. Okay, I think we're out of time. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you will work faster and press Alt.